Hello there, Matt Ely with a follow-up video to my video on the differential glasses. Again, as I said in the prior video, this is not medical advice. I'm not an optometrist. I'm providing information. We're talking about refractive states. We're talking about differential glasses. Those are the glasses that you use for close work, so that you're giving yourself clarity only to the distance that you need it. If you're holding a book here or looking at a computer screen that's that distance from your face, you do not need eyeglasses that give you clarity to infinity, to the horizon. You need glasses that give you clarity to here. We've chosen the differential. We're reading with the differential for some period of time. Days, weeks, maybe a month. As you do this, you want to start adding what we call active focus. You can look to my prior video that says how I started improving my vision, in which I describe how I kind of discovered or stumbled onto active focus before I really knew what I was doing. What you're going to do is, with your differentials on, you're looking at the text, you're right here, it's clear. You move back from the text just a little bit, and I'm exaggerating this here so that you can see it on the camera. But you move back just a little bit to where you're at that point where it just starts to blur. Then you look intently at the text, blink, try to relax your eyes, and imagine what that would look like, the text, if it were completely clear. And try to make it get clear, sharp again. If you remember a few videos ago, I talked about how it's a useful exercise to spend some time without your glasses and then putting your glasses back on and noticing and appreciating the sharpness that you get with the glasses. You need them right now, and you need to have an awareness of what it looks like when it's very, very clear. You're doing this active focus. You get the text out to where it's just a little bit blurry, loses a little bit of sharpness, and you try to make it clear, crystal sharp again, while blinking and imagining what is this supposed to look like. The questions I've seen are, first, how long do I do the active focus exercise? And I want to highlight, it's really not an exercise. This becomes how you use your eyes. At this stage, after 4.5 years, I can't any longer stop doing active focus. I can't look at text that's a little bit out of focus and not try to make it clear, because I've done this so many times. I also want to point out that I've heard one person describe somewhat of an experience of active focus who didn't know that he was doing it, and I've seen one person do it. If you listen to the podcast on the Rewild Yourself podcast, where Jake Steiner was interviewed by Daniel Vitalis on the Rewild Yourself podcast, Daniel Vitalis didn't need glasses, doesn't need glasses. He talked about how he was having an experience where he'd do a bunch of close work and then he'd look up at something in the distance and it would take a second to get clear. Well, he kind of was doing the idea of active focus there. He was letting something that wasn't perfectly sharp and clear get clear. This is a natural ability that we all have. The other instance is, I was visiting someone who backed away from his microwave clock, very far away, I'm sure further than 20 feet, and looked at it and kind of blinked, and this is a kid, looked at it and said, I can make it get clear if I just look at it and blink for a second. Doesn't need glasses. And he is doing the thing that will make him not ever need glasses. Doesn't even know it. We liken it in myopia to something like wiggling your ears. That it's really difficult to put exactly into words how you do, But if you know you can do it and you just keep trying, eventually you'll figure it out. Some people do this naturally and unconsciously. I've just given you 2 examples of that. Some people, and I consider myself lucky, just kind of figure it out once they know that there's some possibility of making things get clearer. Other folks might spend 30 days. So if you're trying this and it doesn't make sense the first time you try it, the first time you watch a video, you're not quite sure how this can work, what you want to do is spend short intervals just playing with the idea. Perfectly clear, push out a little bit, blink, try to make it get clear. Spend a minute, spend 5 minutes, then stop, then read normally just with your differentials, those reduced glasses for close-up. Then later that day, try again. Do it 3 times a day for 5 minutes, maybe more times. You can do it as much as you want, but shorter intervals just trying tends to be a good way to learn things. And if you want a comprehensive look at all this stuff, again, you can find it all on myopia.org. Give yourself 30 days of just trying. What I can say about active focus is that you will know it when you see it. And it's a landmark moment, because if you are someone who has worn glasses for a long time, and your experience of eyesight is that it only ever got worse, your ability to see clearly went from the horizon to maybe a little bit beyond arm's length, and you watched it get closer and closer and closer until here, you can't even see. And for the first time in your memory, you watch something go from not clear to clear. It's a massively big shift. That's the key to improving your vision. We start with close work because most of us can't stop doing close work. Most of us don't have the choice of just moving to the tropics and living outdoors and looking into the distance all the time. So we need to learn how to manage close work. We need to learn how to make it not counterproductive to the clarity of our distance vision. And it's also easier to control all the variables. As I'm showing, you're holding a book, it's here, you move it out, just that little bit can make a big difference. It's also easier at low myopia, or high myopia, where you're starting. It can be really hard to use an eye chart to measure if you're with -5 or worse for your diopters. But if you do that conversion again, -5 is 20 centimeters. If you go from 20 centimeters to 22 centimeters, 2 centimeter difference, that's a 10% improvement. That's actually significant. And when you get that to 25 centimeters, you've dropped a diopter from what you need to see clearly. That's very significant. But it's hard to get that in an eye chart when you're starting. That's why we start with close work. That's why we start with differentials. That's why we learn active focus with differentials. Spend 30 days doing this. Once you get the hang of this, the next step in the myopia process is to get what we call normalized, which are reduced diopter glasses that you use for distance vision. So you'll have close work glasses and distance work glasses that you use. Both are undercorrected to some extent to give you a little bit of blur challenge. Use that stimulus to give yourself improvements, then every 3 to 4 months you make a change. Once you sort out that initial ciliary spasm that you're learning to release as you do this active focus exercise, and you figure out through the self-measurement that you're doing how to assess your own visual acuity, in the first 90 days, many people can drop a diopter from their correction that they use for distance. And then from there, it's about 0.75 diopters a year until you get to the finish line of not needing eyeglasses anymore. I'll talk about the normalized and how to figure that out in the next video, and that may wrap up this series on my introduction to end myopia. Hope it has been helpful. I thank you for the comments, for those who have made them, for those who have watched. Please leave another comment. If you have liked the video, subscribe to the channel. I've got more stuff coming. I'm having fun doing these, and again, I hope they're helpful. Until next time.